Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 17th of February 2024. Starmer defends and then makes amends as he suspends two Labour candidates who said things to offend. Labour upend Tories whose votes massively descend. Cameron tries to get Republicans to bend in increasing America's spend and in what they send to help Ukraine defend, and ends up with an offer to kiss Marjorie's rear end. Navalny's life comes to a sudden end. Rest in peace, Steve Wright, a broadcasting friend on whom many came to depend. A week that, for Starmer, didn't start joyfully, ended with the Labour leader full of glee. The anti-Semitism that he thought he'd controlled surfaced again in his party, like an ugly mole. And for a few days Sir Keir played whack-a-mole with two election candidates thrown out of the fold. Rochdale by-election candidate Azhar Ali had ventured down a dark conspiracy alley. He said Israel enabled the first Hamas raid to give them the pretext to have Gaza razed. Initially, Mr. Ali for a day was defended, then Starmer flip-flopped and had him suspended. From this kerfuffle, Keir seemed to learn a lesson, 'cause next day with Graham Jones there was no messing. The Labour leader's response was swift and stern in dropping the election hopeful for Hindburn. In a recording released by the Daily Mail, Jones said Brits who fought for Israel should go to jail. Keir got some stick, but his frown turned upside down on Thursday when it was the turn of Sunak to frown. Two huge by-election Tory to Labour swings. 16% in Kingswood made Labour the Kings. Also doing well in the Wellingborough seat, a 29% swing made their night complete. So on Friday, Tories prepared their calculations and their statistical manipulations, but their over-optimistic interpretations had connotations of trying to con a nation. They said Tory spirits are low, so they chose to veto. Come the election, turnout won't be so low. Also, Reform's achievement in reaching double figures contributed to the Tory vote not being bigger. And those who glance at history will, without doubt, know Reform have probably dealt only a glancing blow, because protest parties quickly come and go. Voters in the end will go with the mainstream flow. And as for the recently much asked question, should Tories change their leader pre-election, all such ideas seem to have now been shelved as Tory MPs protect their party and themselves. Becoming leader now would lead to regret, the first task being to pick the ball out of the net, because Labour seem to have an open goal which they should score to win the national poll. On Friday, a huge story began to unfold. Being from Russia, the message was controlled. The jailed dissident Alexei Navalny, we were told, had been having a stroll in the Arctic cold when he collapsed in the snow and was suddenly dead. A post-mortem is inconclusive, Moscow has said. Of course, there may just be something to hide regarding how Navalny abruptly died. The guy was a huge thorn in Putin's side, telling hard truths that the Kremlin's denied. It seems, with elections looming, the Kremlin coward wants to quell attempts to have rebels empowered. And immediately after news of Navalny's death broke, police were out in force, having all protests choked. David Cameron said the West must show unity and not let such acts take place with impunity. Our Foreign Secretary, face to face and by phone, had been working his voice and fingers to the bone, trying to get Ukraine much needed extra backing as Russia has turned from defence to attacking. But in the US, the Republic position was defined when Marjorie Taylor Greene gave her bottom line. On the subject of more funds for Kyiv being passed, the Trump loyalist told Dave, "You can kiss my arse." Republicans have lost interest in helping Ukraine. It's a matter of making America tiny again. NATO could easily have the Russians outgunned with an economic ratio of 25-1, but the West live normal lives, while paranoid Putin has his whole massive country on a war footing. On Tuesday there was nothing left to do but honour a genius of the radio broadcasting genre. From the age of the tranny to modern day streaming, Steve Wright's sunlight into homes has been beaming. A smiling voice that flowed like honey could make the darkest times in life seem sunny. Witty, wise, humble and so very funny, his timing and tone always right on the money. Self-deprecating and self-effacing, many would pay the devil to replace him. Everyone he interviewed, big or small, felt like his mate and felt 10 feet tall. DJing was quite formulaic in 1980 when Radio 1 unleashed this geezer almatey. Almatey and almighty, he brought chaos to the air. He spoke to listeners like they were with him there. With invented characters, factoids and jokes, he came across as one of your regular blokes. From 1996 to 17 months ago, Radio 2 became the home for the big show, filling each afternoon from 2 to 5, the backdrop to so many people's lives. A meticulously prepared masterpiece each afternoon, non-stop oldies, current affairs, serious jocking tunes. 44 years of serving, no G, the BBC. This new year he received an MBE. He'd just recorded Sunday love songs for Valentine's and apparently everything seemed just fine when he suddenly died on Monday, aged 69.